is a Pulitzer Prize-winning author and political analyst whose books include The Fitzgeralds and the Kennedys and No Ordinary Time. Now, her latest book, Wait Till Next Year, is now out in paperback. Please welcome Doris Kearns Goodwin. Really interesting book, actually, to come from you. I think, because I've read your book on FDR and love the book. And this is more a book, it's a personal sort of reminiscence of growing up in the 50s. It's not really about a political topic at all. It's just about your fascination with the Brooklyn... Yeah, and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Right.
You know, which...
Yay, Brooklyn Dodgers!
They'll be back. And what's fascinating, something I can relate to a little bit because I'm Catholic, is that in the book, you talk a little bit about how it was hard to reconcile being a Dodgers fan and an ardent Dodgers fan with a proper Catholic upbringing. Now, what was the problem there?
The big problem was that when I went to my first confession, my first holy confession, I had to admit to impure thoughts. And what those impure thoughts were, that I wished harm to all the other teams that were the rivals to my Brooklyn Dodgers. So I figured I would just slip this in between the normal sins for a 7-year-old, like disobeying my parents 20 times, talking in church 15 times. So I just snuck in, wishing harm to others, thinking the priest wouldn't ask me. But he said, "To whom did you wish harm?"
Because that's a pretty scary thing for a little kid to say.
Terrifying.
I ate some gum when I wasn't supposed to. I stayed up a little late. I wish harm upon others.
And then he says, "And to whom?" And I had to say, well, I wished harm to the great Yankee pitcher, Allie Reynolds. I wanted him to break his arm. And I wanted Alvin Dark of the Giants to fall down the steps of his stoop. And I wanted Enos Slaughter to break his leg.
What's more disturbing is that you had specific horrors for each one. I think that's the scarier
and then it
part.
got worse because he said, "And how often do you make these wishes?" And I had to say, "Every night when I pray."
So what did he say? What did he tell you to do?
Oh, he was great. He just said to me, "Look, let me tell you a secret. I'm a Brooklyn Dodger fan as much as you. You do not need to wish harm on others. They will win the World Series someday, I promise you."
Wait, how can he promise you that?
He has powers. And they did.
He peeked through the curtain. "I'll take care of it. Don't
worry."
worry.
He said, "Say your Hail Marys and your Our Fathers and get out of here," he said.
Now, it was very traumatic for Dodgers fans when they moved to Los Angeles. Did you continue to root for the Dodgers then? Or?
Oh, no way. I couldn't follow baseball for 8 years until I finally moved to Boston, went to Fenway Park, and then found the same kind of team, like the Brooklyn Dodgers. Almost always winning, but then losing.
Yeah, I was going to say, your life then has been a real joy, hasn't it? No, I grew up in Boston, too, so I grew up a Red Sox fan. Yeah, I know, but... hard. It's hard.
They will win someday, fairly and squarely. You'll see.
Right. Okay. I hope so.
He doesn't believe
no,
it.
It's hard. You know, it's hard. You grow up and you think it's always going to happen, and then that last time, yeah. Now, you talk in the book about getting to meet some of your baseball heroes, some of the people that you just idolized. Who was your favorite of all the people?
Well, Jackie Robinson, without a question. And the great experience I had was I finally got his autograph after years of waiting. I brought one of these ridiculous autograph books that girls used to have in those days that we would sign to one another with sentimental, flowery statements like, "I will love you till Niagara Falls. I will cherish you till rubber tires." And I figured I
had one of those too, actually. Yeah.
Oh, I love to.
Did it have a little key in it?
Yeah, and you could secretly keep it under your bed. And I figured if he wrote his name in the middle of these intimate sayings, he would look like one of my great friends. Right. I didn't think he'd even bother looking at it, but he started reading these sayings. I thought I would faint. But then he said, "Well, I see I'm in good company." He smiled, and he thought for a long moment, and in complete keeping with the spirit of the book, he wrote, "Keep your smile a long, long while, Jackie Robinson." It was great.
Sweet. That's great. It's a great thing to have.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of great stuff in this book, but I'm not doing my job if I don't bring up something which is relevant today. Because there's so much talk about Monica Lewinsky, White House intern in President Clinton's office. You were a White House intern.
Embarrassingly.
And you were a White House intern for President Lyndon Johnson.
When I was 24 years old, too, embarrassingly.
Yeah, and you had a beret. No.
It's gone tonight. I figured you wouldn't want to see it.
Any reminiscences, anything you can tell us about what it's like to be a White House intern for Lyndon Johnson?
Well, he was a great character, probably the most interesting president I've ever known. In fact, each time I went to visit him at his ranch, he had this warehouse filled with gifts, and each time you went to see him, you got to choose from a higher and higher shelf. almost as if you were at an amusement park and you'd finally make it to the top.
Wait, so the first time you get to visit, you get to pick something from the first shelf?
Bottom shelf. And that was like a certificate that you'd flown on Air Force One. And then a few months later, you'd worked your way up to the next shelf, which was a scarf that had his name embroidered on it 500 times. And then the next shelf was a watch that had his picture on it. Until finally, I got to the top shelf after about 8 or 9 months. He said, "You're one of my best friends. You can pick from the top shelf." And then he said, "I love this present as much as you do, because you'll think of me every morning and every night when you open this wonderful gift." I opened it up, and inside was the largest electric toothbrush I had ever seen in my life, and it had the official presidential seal on the front and his smiling face on the back. And I thought, oh my God, this man is right. I'll think of him every morning and every night.
How did they put Lyndon Johnson's face on an electric toothbrush?
He had ways.
But he wasn't on the moving part, right? You know.
He was.
That would be the scary part. Every morning you're trying to brush your teeth, and Lyndon Johnson's going. Actually, it would work for Nixon. Just a complete workout in the morning. Well, the book's fantastic. Wait till next year. Everyone, check it out. It's a very cool memoir. Doris Kearns Goodwin, it was great having you on the program. Come on back.
I'd be delighted.
All right. We'll take a break, everybody. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, that is our show for tonight. I do want to thank all my guests. Stay tuned for later. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.